My husband spent $41,000 of our savings on a secret apartment. He forgot my little brother is a forensic accountant. Full story. I'm 38F, and until a couple of years ago, I was married to Mark. We had been together for 11 years. We owned a nice, modest house in a good neighborhood in Austin, paid our mortgage on time, and had a joint savings account. We'd been building for years. Mark worked in commercial real estate. He was a charismatic guy, good with people, and even better with numbers. That's how he sold houses, and I guess that's how he sold me on the idea that we were a rock-solid team. Looking back, I wasn't safe. I was just trusting. Things started cracking slowly. Mark started working later, claiming a new commercial development deal was eating up his time. He started dressing a little sharper, bought new cologne, got a trendier haircut. I noticed it all, but I just really didn't want to notice, if that makes sense. My younger brother Danny noticed too. Danny is a forensic accountant. He works for a firm downtown, and his entire life revolves around receipts, bank trails, and numbers that don't add up. We'd have Sunday dinners at my mom's house, and Danny would just sit there quietly watching Mark. One night after dinner, Danny caught me alone in the kitchen. He asked, super casually, "You guys doing okay financially?" I told him we were fine and asked why. He just shrugged and said, "No reason." I should have pressed him, but I was too busy trying to keep my marriage feeling normal to ask questions that might ruin it. The truth ended up coming out because of a random receipt. I was going through Mark's jacket looking for a dry cleaning ticket. I pulled out a folded piece of paper. It was a delivery receipt from a local furniture store. The weird part? The delivery address was for a one-bedroom apartment downtown. An apartment I had absolutely no clue existed. I sat at the kitchen table and just stared at that piece of paper for probably 10 minutes. Then I called Danny. He didn't even sound shocked. That's what really got me. My little brother just sighed and said, "Claire, I need you to give me your bank login right now. I've had a bad feeling for a while, and it's time we see if I'm right." It took Danny for days to build the full picture. Over the past year, Mark had been slowly bleeding our savings account dry. He'd moved small amounts into a separate account I didn't know about. 200 here, 500 there. Because I trusted him to manage the bulk of our finances, I never scrutinized the monthly statements. But then Danny found the big ones. $41,000. Gone. Wired out in 6 different transfers over the last 4 months. Danny traced all of it. That secret account paid for the first, last, and security deposit on that downtown apartment. It paid for the furniture on the receipt. It paid for a leased Audi. It paid for expensive dinners at restaurants he had never taken me to in a decade of marriage. There was a woman, obviously. Her name was Ashley. She was 29 and worked in his real estate office. Honestly, my first reaction wasn't even rage. I just felt incredibly stupid. Every time I told myself I was being paranoid over the last year, my gut had actually been dead right. A few days later, Mark was standing in the kitchen doorway with his car keys in his hand, getting ready to leave for work like it was a totally normal Tuesday. I had the bank statements printed out on the island. "Mark," I said, "where's our savings?" He didn't answer. He just got dead quiet. And then he actually had the nerve to look me in the eye and say, I was going to pay it back, like our marriage was a loan he took out without asking. He tried to give me the standard excuses. He felt invisible at home. She made him feel young. It just happened. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just asked him if she knew he was married. He looked at the floor, which was all the answer I needed. Here's the thing about Texas, it's a community property state. That savings account was legally half mine. He didn't just cheat on me. He committed fraud on the community by spending our joint assets on his affair. Danny didn't just hand me the math and leave. He helped me organize a massive binder of evidence. When I hired a divorce attorney the next week, she took one look at Danny's spreadsheets and told me it was the cleanest financial paper trail she had seen in years. Mark had been so careless because he assumed I'd never look. He assumed I couldn't do the math. He forgot. My brother does math for a living. The divorce wasn't quiet. Word got around his office fast, and Mark was quietly sidelined from his big client accounts. Trust doesn't come back easily in the commercial real estate world. Because of the community property laws and Danny's airtight documentation, I kept the house. The judge also ordered Mark to reimburse my half of that missing $41,000 in the final settlement. It took him 2 years to pay me off. Oh, and he and Ashley broke up about 8 months after the divorce was finalized. Mutual friends said she dumped him because he was emotionally unavailable. Lol. I refinanced the house solely in my name. Danny still comes over for Sunday dinners, only now he actually relaxes and falls asleep on my couch instead of glaring at my ex across the table. I don't regret trusting my partner. Trust should be the default in a marriage. But I'll never again regret ignoring my gut. If something feels off, you aren't imagining it.